When you live in a small town, everyone knows where you've been and what you have done. I've been trying to leave this old town since
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. I'm Zeta.
And I'm Kelly, and you're listening to
Two Sides and the Truth. I am so sorry that we are so late. I'm going to own this. This is my bad.
Man, summer, man.
Every year it hits me that this is my rough time of year, and maybe it'll change because my next year is my last kid in school. It's his senior year, and that's usually a big part of it.
Yeah.
But also, I have a big family. There's graduation parties and there's, all kinds of stuff. Mm-hmm. And we like to spend a lot of time in the water. So typically Rick is ready to do something.
Yeah.
But we don't have a boat. Our boat, since it burned up, it's yet to be replaced because we're still waiting on insurance. So we're boatless. So this is going to be a little bit different than what we've been doing. We typically like to do a catch up and then we like to do a topic. And we decided, since we've been gone so long and so much has gone on, and particularly in my life.
Yeah. We're going to do a whole catch up for Zeta.
I can't even tell y'all everything. It's so ridiculous. So I'm going to put the funny things in because that's what we need to focus on.
Yeah.
So we're going to do we're going to make it a catching up / rabbit holes, cabin talk.
Yeah. We'll see what we get into here.
Kelly got to my house where we do the recording 30 minutes ago. Mm-hmm. And we just told all these stories we can't even tell on the podcast.
Oh, sorry guys.
Sorry for your luck. So last we left off, I was going out of town that upcoming weekend, and I was going out of town because Friday night was my niece's graduation, which is my brother's youngest daughter. Mm-hmm. And anyone that listens knows my brother has passed, and so obviously I like to be there for anything he would be there for his daughters. I like to make sure. My goal is to always be there wherever Zol would be at the most important moment.
That's good.
So let me prepare you for this mess. So I go and I get there. It's we have to do the graduation party before the graduation because the graduation's a little bit later. So we go there and she, my brother passed and she then lived with her stepmom for a little bit, but then she ended up moving in with a friend of the family, that lived a little closer to the school and just, had a little bit more room for her. And, that's how we understood it. I had been to their ranch one other time with my brother, when he was alive, because that was like her best friend's family, but it's like multiple homes of different generations on the same ranch.
Oh, that's cool.
So I had been to the friend's home, but this is the grandma's home. She actually lived with the grandma because she had extra space. And anyways, I get to the home and it's just ridiculous, beautiful. And it's right on this little, I don't know what you would call it. It's not really a river, creek. But they said it's a natural spring fed. So they said it's never without water, and they swim in it, and it's just beautiful. And they have stairs built. It's just typical hill country, living their best life.
Yeah.
So we go to the graduation party and we do that. And then we all go from there over to the high school, and we're going to do the graduation. And so my sister rides with my daughter. And then who was in the car with me? Somebody else rode with me, and I've gone blank. Oh, my niece rides with me. So my older niece rides with me. So we get over there, and I have my brother's ashes in the truck. Mm-hmm. And I have my brother's ashes in the truck because whenever I had last seen my sister-in-law, she had put most of the ashes in a jar that she keeps. And she said, I told her I needed a refill because I take Zol in my dime bag. I literally asked for a refill of my brother. And she said, just take the rest of the ashes. I still have them in the box. I was like, okay.
You got to up on my ashes.
Yeah, but then I was like, these technically belong to his daughter, not me.
Yeah.
Or his daughters, not me. So I had contacted them and said, hey, I got your dad's ashes. I'm going to bring them to the graduation and at some point give them to you, which I actually forgot. I didn't really forget. It just didn't seem right. And anyway, so we, India, my sister, comes over to the truck, and I don't know where Zoe went. I don't know, but India and I were sitting there, my sister, and we have the door open on the passenger side and my door open. And she picks up my brother's ashes, which are in the box. And they're just in the box they came from the funeral home in. And he's in a bag inside the box. I just assumed my sister-in-law tied the bag shut.
Uh-oh.
Because when I never looked in it. I had had it for a few weeks, but I had never actually opened it. And I just took it home, put it on the shelf, left it there till I brought it there.
Yeah.
So that was my assumption. And so she picks up the box to get into the car and she was like, hey, what's this? And the ashes are seeping out of the bag into the box. And it's very windy. And
oh no.
I got my door open too. And the next thing you know, his ashes are all over the place. There's still plenty of ashes left, but they're coming out of this little seeping hole like crazy.
Oh my gosh.
And they got me directly in the face.
Oh man.
In my eyes. I have my brother's ashes in my eyes. I'm like, oh my God, he's in my eyes. He's in my eyes. And I'm like trying to get him out of my eyes.
Oh my
and he's all over my fucking truck. He's like everywhere. You can see him. And when he was alive and he was sick, I drove him a lot of places and I would go in to see him every weekend and we spent a lot of time together. Well, I had just gotten that truck because I just wrecked my F-150 and he hadn't been in a Ram in years. We're both normally Ford or Chevy people, but COVID. So I ended up with a Ram. And so he loved that fucking side seat. Like, so every time I take him places, it was like, this is the most comfortable passenger seat out of everyone's trucks I've been riding in because he couldn't really drive. Mm-hmm. And so he was in a lot of passenger seats. And, they don't normally have lumbar or like all these extra things. They're usually the basic seat. And mine's not a fancy one. It doesn't have everything. It is heated. But he's like, I love this seat. I love this seat. And we had many conversations about how much he loved that fucking seat. Let me tell you, it was covered in his ashes.
He got his seat back.
And then we're like, what do we do? Do we vacuum it out? What do we do? So we're like patting it and pushing it out. So he's at least in Cherokee, Texas.
Yeah.
So he's now in Cherokee, Texas the high school parking lot.
But he never thought he'd be there.
And he's never coming out of that damn truck. Like he's going to be in there for multiple owners.
Yeah, it's like worse than glitter.
And yes, it's like dead people glitter.
Yeah.
I don't know. And so I told the customer this story today at work and he was losing his shit. He was like, you are messed up. I was like, I think it's payback because I told Zoe I was going to keep him in a dime bag because if I carried him in a big bag, it seemed messy.
Going to keep you really tidy in a dime bag.
Yeah, and that's worked so far. See what I get?
Apparently.
Lesson learned.
Yeah.
Lesson learned. So then I go inside and I tell my niece about it. And I'm like, the older niece, the younger one is, I'm not going to interrupt her graduation.
Yeah.
Tell her dad just flew in my eyes. So then my older niece, that's named after me, my namesake, I'm like, your dad just flew in my eyes. So we're laughing still, hysterically. And she was like, she started laughing equally. And we're like, I think that Zoe wants to watch the graduation and he's stealing my eyes. This is a plan.
Yeah, he just planted himself.
Yes. And so I kind of found a little comfort in it.
Yeah.
Honestly, timing couldn't have been better.
Right.
I mean, and then we get there and let me tell you, she graduates with 12 students. 12.
Wow.
That's it. It's a tiny little town.
Yeah.
And they said it was their biggest class ever. It was the best graduation I have ever been to because it was 12 students. It was the quickest and meaningful. Everything, and my niece got a few scholarships. It was wonderful.
That's great.
And but it's a very small gymnasium, as you can imagine. It's like you have a full size basketball court, but there's not much more else to it.
Yeah.
And so basically, every student of the 12 students could have 10 guests that got a special seat on the basketball court.
Yeah.
So they had like the seats for the administration, and then to the right they had the seats of the students that were graduating, and in the middle was the podium, and they were facing the audience on the basketball court. If that gives you the idea. So there's 120 seats available, 10 per student. So my niece let me have my brother's seat, and that was really special.
Aww.
I know. So Zoe really did get to see it like that. And so that was pretty cool. And she also invited her stepmom, who, it's been a little hard since then. So that was really cool, meant a lot to her.
Yeah.
And then my sister India was able to be there too, which was really cool. Yes. So that was really nice. And so the rest of the families had to be up in the seating things.
Yeah, the bleachers.
The bleachers. But yeah, it was a really cool, meaningful, little graduation. I had a good time. And so thankfully it was Friday night, and my family reunion every year is a pretty good time, and it's a camp out. And they did it this year in San Saba. It moves around. It's always in the hill country and always within about an hour of each other usually. Every once in a while we'll get a Frio River trip, which I think we're doing next year. But typically it's there. So this year it's at my uncle's house, and he's on the San Saba River. And which, if anyone really follows us, that's the river where I've taken the girls, and you've seen pictures of us like laying on a bridge in a culvert looking thing. That's just the culvert from that river, and it's just really clear spring water. So that's where I like to go. Well, right up the river is his ranch, and it's just stunning. And so that's where my family reunion was. So I went with Zoe and my nieces, and my son Zane and his girlfriend joined us. And we had a great time, and we're sitting in the river hanging out, all the good stuff. But something my family does that's really, really fun is they do some kind of contest at all time. But the two main contests are the pinto bean contest. And you make pinto beans. It used to be that it had to be over an open fire. This has been going on for 40 years. Like, this is not a new thing. And my reunion every year is, there used to be on average about 100 to 120 people. It's now down to maybe 60, but that's only because it's a rotating. Every year there's about 20 that might not make it every year, but they'll make it every other year type thing. So then there's a core group of 40 that make it every one. Anyways, it's always a camp out. It's always a lot of fun. My family, I am the tamest, calmest, most boring one. Am I wrong?
No, you're not.
I'm so boring compared to these people.
Compared to them.
I am the square I'm not kidding. I am the square family member. Like, I feel like an outcast half the time.
Yeah.
And they all have more money than me too. Like, they're all very successful rednecks. That's the best description I can give. And so anyway, we do the bean contest. But now my generation is like, shit, put it in a crock pot. We don't care. Just bring us your beans. And there apparently was some drama one year where my sister was like the judge and like the organizer, and she put all these rules on it, kind of like a real bean real contest that they have. So she looked up their rules. My family did not appreciate it. It still comes up. It's a sore subject. Well, I got to be a judge on that. And so I got to taste all the beans and rate the beans, and they were all delicious. And then I didn't even want to eat dinner. I was done. And then we had a hot sauce contest, and I got to be a judge on the hot sauce contest.
Nice.
And
Yeah,
it's
I
all
like
different kinds of hot sauces. It's pico-ish. It's all kinds. Delicious. Did not want to eat afterwards. And then but I stayed in the cabin. I did not stay on the campground because it was so close, and I had all my kids, and I didn't want to drag the RV and everything. So we decided just to stay at the cabin, whatever. Rick was with us too, but he came to the reunion, but he also left and went and dealt with his horses or whatever. And, but we just had a really good time. Like, I just feel like if you are from a family and like you don't do reunions, you're missing out.
Yeah.
And you can be the organizer. My cousin that's younger than me is now the organizer. It changes every few years. If someone gets too old or too busy, then it moves to the next generation or the next person. But, I got a cousin that really puts a lot of work into it and is awesome. And so she organized, but there's got to be one family member. It doesn't have to be as big a deal as mine.
Yeah, but anything.
Yeah, but you are missing out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had a really good time. It was a lot of fun. So that was my first weekend. Oh, and we're still on the storage hunt, trying to get into Zoe's storage. This has been ongoing.
So I don't even know the whole story on the storage unit and about y'all not being able to get into it.
Okay.
So
She has 2 storage units in Austin. So when she moved home, she put all her stuff into 2 different storage units in Austin.
yeah.
She immediately lost her keys.
Oh goodness. That is your daughter.
Yes. So it's been there for months, and I've been paying for it because she wasn't working. So I was like, okay, we're getting that shit out. Like, I'm done. And so we've been trying to get it out for about 2 months now. I can't get Public Storage to answer their phone. We've tried everything. We're like, we can't get into our storage unit. We need to move everything out. I don't want to keep paying.
Yeah.
I want to get my shit out. And nobody wants the phone. And then we finally would get up. One of the 2 places, we have never gotten a hold of anybody. So it has to be a weekday experience, basically. And you can make an appointment with the manager so that they'll do it with you, but we can't get anyone to answer the phone to make the appointment.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So the other one, which is just right down the road from that one, I don't know why she didn't put them in the same place. So the other one is also public storage. We've talked to many people, and they keep screwing up. And there's a core lock, which is like a round cylinder lock, and it has to use a key. That's what she lost the key to it. Mm-hmm. So when we contacted them, we're like, we just need to get in there, but we only can come on weekends and after hours. Can you put a lock on there and remove that lock so that we can get into our unit? And they're like, yes, we can do that. And so they didn't. We went the first time and they didn't put the lock on there at all. And it was on the spot next to us.
Oh my
So
gosh.
they put it on the wrong storage unit. And you know what lock is yours because they send you an email and it has a lock number and then it has a combination number to that lock number.
Yeah.
And so the lock number matched on the one next to it, but it didn't open. And so we couldn't get into it. We couldn't get anyone to answer the phone. There wasn't anyone in the office. We couldn't get into it. Also, the core was still in there, which meant we still would have needed keys. They didn't even remove the core.
Oh my gosh.
So the first trip, there was no lock. There was no lock at all. Like they didn't do anything. It was as if we never spoke to them. The second trip, that's the situation. They put the lock on, wrong lock, core key is still there, So the third trip is the same situation. And we've spoken to people and we've been promised things. And again, same situation.
Oh my gosh.
So
And it's not like y'all are just going down the road. Like you're going all the way to Austin.
I kept telling them, I do not live here. This is not convenient, and I've driven to Austin like the last, 3-4 weekends in a row.
Yeah.
And I hate Austin. I know I'm from Austin and there's some very good memories I have in Austin, but that Austin is dead. This Austin sucks ass. And so, no offense on Austin, but holy shit, especially public storage in Austin. But no, the traffic.
Yeah.
So we went, the last trip there, before the one I did yesterday, the last trip there was on Friday night. So it was the 31st. I was like, not getting charged again. We're getting this out. And we get there, and that's when the lock was on, but the core key was still on, and it was the wrong lock. And it took me 4 hours to get there. It's normally a 2 hour and 20 minute drive. It took me 4 hours because of traffic. Mm-hmm. I was frazzled. Thank God my sister lives there, so I have a free place to stay.
Yeah.
I did get a great visiting with my sister, but whatever,
That's beside the point.
That's beside the point. But the gas, I drive a truck, And so I finally just took off yesterday and made an appointment. I got a hold of the guy and I made an appointment and we finally got into the damn unit.
Oh, thank God.
It was too much to fit in my truck. I have to go back.
Oh my goodness. And you still can't get a hold of the other people at the other storage?
No.
Oh my goodness.
And so I'm hoping we can get a hold of them so we can get that taken care of too. But holy shit. I'm not done. Mm-hmm. I'm not paying anymore. And honestly, I would have let it go. But Zoe's like, your mom's wedding dress is in there. Well, fuck. I guess I have to go get it. I'm like pulling her shit out of storage and it's just, bless her heart. McDonald's nunchucks. Yeah. That's the kind of shit we just pulled out of there. There's a very large custom painting of her favorite bartender.
Well, memories, I guess.
So we did get into it. And that's where we are in the storage. And that's my catching up for the first weekend.
Yeah. So I not as much as you for sure. My week has been pretty the week before we were getting ready for camp and everything like that. So this week has been our official first week of summer day camp. And oh my gosh, I was not ready. And I'm working more hours this summer than I have literally in years.
And it's hot and humid as hell.
And so that's one thing. It's like just going from working part-time to working full-time. I'm not a full-time girl. That's what I told Dante. I was like, I'm not for this life. And
I'm not cut out for work.
I'm really not.
I'm pretty.
And he, of course, is just making fun of me because I'm having to have a big girl job apparently. And I'm like, I'm not for it. This is not, I'm not made for this. This is not what I signed up for. And the last couple of summers, I was very fortunate. I didn't even have to work full time on summer. I just worked like the middle day shift, of it. But this time I'm there from like 8:15 to 5:15, 5:30. So it's definitely a full day for me. And oh man, and I have the kindergartners and first graders. So on kinder first and second. And so I have all the younger kids. So of course they keep me on my toes. I went and got me a Fitbit because
I bet you were walking your ass off.
Yes. And I was like, I want to keep track of I was wanting to keep track of my steps ever since me and Dante started walking and everything. I was like, I really want to, and it also like, it tracks like your calories and everything like that, like what you've been burning and everything. So I was just trying to like get more on top of my health and everything.
Yeah.
So I was like, got me a Fitbit, and literally I've been having like 16,000 steps
I bet.
a day. And then Dante, like yesterday, well, actually the day before, I was like so dead. And he came in, he's like, ready to go for a walk? And I was like, I'm so tired. He's like, nope, we're going for a walk. I was like, so we still been going for our walks. And then last night I was like, so last night was Wednesday night, and I was like, I can't. My knees hurt so bad. I don't have any cartilage in my knees. And usually they don't bother me, but I can definitely tell. And so I was like, I've got to save my knees. I was like, I'm only halfway through this week, and this is week 1. So I'm just resting. So his daughter went on the walk with him last night. So I was like, thank God I can't.
Zoe and I have been trying to do walks.
Yeah.
We've also been stealing fruit from all the neighbors.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I told
wonderful.
you that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I wish we had more fruit.
They are officially ripe, and we got a bunch of them.
I love that for you.
We picked the ones off the ground that had just fallen, so we didn't take any of theirs off the tree.
Yeah. You were just,
Yeah, we were just
conserving.
Gathering. Yeah, we were just helping them.
Just helping y'all out.
Yeah, just helping y'all out.
Oh man. So, and another thing I wanted to tell y'all about summer camp, I know we have some listeners that are very helpful. So y'all know that we are very limited on our budget for the Boys and Girls Club. So we are asking like people to help us as much as they can. We have an Amazon wish list that's helping us with like snacks, because we have to we have a service that comes in and does their breakfast and their lunch, but we have to provide snack for them.
Yeah.
And right now, like we cannot get money. We can't get money from like the Salvation Army. Everything is caught up. And like, we're just waiting. Like we have funds, but they haven't released them to us. So like we have these kids and we need to feed them. So we have an Amazon wish list that we have posted up, and I'm going to post the link on our Instagram, and I'll give it to Zeta to post on our Facebook.
I will definitely post it.
If you could go and anything that you could purchase, even if it's just like one box of crackers or anything is going to help us out, because we're just, and my poor bosses, they're so wonderful. They're trying to cover as much as they can, but that's coming out of their paychecks, and they are not getting reimbursed for that. Yes. And our field trips.
So also, if we have any business listeners in Waxahachie that want to donate.
Yeah, we would love that. And we can definitely, give y'all some PR. We can definitely talk about y'all, let y'all, we'll do whatever we can. Cause they finally, in the past, we haven't been able to fundraise. We were under some kind of thing where we couldn't fundraise. But now they're allowing us to fundraise since we have such a dire situation. And they're allowing, so people can sponsor field trips or like send in money. They weren't letting us take money. Like we could only like have things that were donated.
Yeah.
But now they're actually letting people like actually donate funds to us. So I'll have that posted up, the wish list. Anything that y'all can do would be very much appreciated, because like we got a lot of kids
y'all
that
starving.
No, they eat a lot. Kids eat a lot, man.
Yeah,
they do.
assholes.
So that would be greatly appreciated. My next thing would be, I'm so excited about this. My tattoo artist Patience finally is at a new tattoo studio. So she has moved to the Painted Rose in Cleburne, Texas.
Okay.
So
she's not Brandy-ish.
It's a little bit of more of a drive for me, but she's so good that I don't even care. I was just waiting for her to tell me where she was going to be at, because last month I did not get a tattoo for last month. So I kind of broke my getting a tattoo every month. And of course, Dante was like, you've gotten plenty to make up for that.
Extra.
And I was like, that's not the point. I was supposed to get one every
Maybe that was
month.
God preparing for the situation.
Right.
It's like hoarding without like nesting.
I guess. But I'm making up for it because now, so tomorrow, which is going to be Friday, I'm going to go and get my other elbow done, which she had done one elbow already. So she's doing the other one. And then on Saturday morning, I'm am going back, and she's finishing my abdomen piece that I have, my angel. So
okay.
I'm gonna get 2 tattoos back to back.
All right, get it.
So I'm pretty excited about that.
Happy June.
I know.
All right. What else you got? Anything else?
Oh, and I went with my boss. So my one of my bosses, Teresa, I've gone with her to get like little tattoos here and there. We've gotten like Friday the 13th tattoos together. Well, she decided that she wanted to just go balls to the wall and get a sleeve done.
What?
Yes. So
she went from nothing at all on her.
Well, she
arm,
had a couple. She had a couple of small tattoos, and so she went to this. She found this lady on TikTok that does blindfold tattoos. So basically you choose from a couple of different things, like they let you check off boxes like floral or Texas or different genres that you like. And then they design you a tattoo based on what you have chosen. So you can choose like a couple of different things. You can choose one thing, or you can choose like up to 3 things, I think. And then they blindfold you. So you don't see the tattoo at all.
So ish.
Like if you chose floral, like what she chose was floral and Texas and then artist choice. Because she's very open. She's like, I don't care. I want floral and
did
Texas
she get blue
theme.
bonnets?
Well, on her flower, she wanted sunflowers.
Oh, okay.
So they did sunflowers and cactuses.
Oh, okay.
And it went up her whole arm. So she's like, I was like, man, you little badass. You just took that all in one session. I was like, it took me forever but I do patchwork.
Did she have patience do it?
No. The lady that she found on TikTok, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's
I can't
right. You
remember
said it
her
was
name.
someone on TikTok.
I can look it up and I'll like share her post. But like, yeah, the tattoo shop that she does, like that's what they do. They do blindfold tattoos.
Where is that?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I meant to have it, but you know me.
Look at her going TikTok.
I know, but I'll post it though. So I don't know if anybody's that brave. I'm not that brave. Not that I'm not that brave, but I like to be involved more than that.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure I could, like especially if like I've seen the artists, seen their work, and I know that they do really good work.
Like that's the type of person that likes surprise parties.
Yeah,
I don't.
I don't either. So
don't pop up on
when
me.
it comes to tattoos and permanency, I like to give artists their freedom too. Like I'm not like super nitpicky or anything like that, but I do like to know what's going on my body. And I like once they like show me the design and they put it on, I like to look at it and make sure I like the flow of it. Like I like to have a little bit of control.
I don't blame you.
I don't think I could do a whole sleeve and not see anything of it until I'm done with it. Like that's another level for sure.
A guy today at work, and no one ever asked me about mine because I'm not tattooed like you. No one ever does. And this guy today goes, did that hurt on my wrist tattoo? And I was like, no, this one hurt. Our fingers. This one hurts. And I've had to have it done a few times because this is a bad spot. And he was like, oh. I was like, yeah, that spot hurt.
The little tender in there for sure.
My foot hurt a little bit, but my finger, that was
and I hear people say that the foot is the worst.
It hurt. I mean, I'm not going to lie, it hurt.
I don't have my feet tattooed.
But
so
to me, the finger stung more.
Yeah.
That was the only, it did hurt.
Yeah, it's a really sensitive spot. And
but my wrist didn't hurt to me at all.
No.
I mean, no.
No, I have close to my wrist done, and they really weren't that. I mean, it didn't feel great, but you could definitely tell. Like my elbow ditches, those were very sensitive, and the actual elbow on the bone, it's not fun.
No.
I'm glad that I'm getting the other one done and taken care of, so I can just knock that off the list. The next thing I'm worried about is when I switch to my legs to do my leg sleeves and stuff. The kneecaps.
I've heard that.
I'm sure the kneecaps or the back of it. Underneath the kneecap?
Yeah,
the kneecap ditch. I don't know what you call that.
And I couldn't do the backs of my ankles.
No?
That's sensitive.
I have a feeling that like the Achilles, that's probably
makes me think of like when your kid hits you with a cart in the grocery store.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, it's horrible.
I hate it whenever you hit your shins on the cart.
Yeah, but the ankles were the back ankles were.
That's really
trust me, my kids have done it.
Look at that.
Yeah, they lost all rights.
You don't get to drive anymore.
Yeah, you've lost all right. I have a lot more to talk about than Kelly.
Well, get after
We
it.
had to section mine into 2 weekends. I did, though, just roll all the storage one into one.
Yeah, you did.
So that's good. I wasn't sure I was going to tell that story. But I got a really good, feel-good story for you. And it actually happened more recently. It was actually a weekday, not a weekend. But this just happened a few days ago. So we have talked about Titty before. Was Titty on this one or the other one?
I think he was on the other one with you and Al.
Okay. So I have a very good friend. His last name's Tidwell, but we call him Titty. And I've known him forever. I've known him since high school. He didn't go to my high school. He went to Waxahachie, and I went to Red Oak, the town over. But he married one of my very close friends from high school. And I knew him before they even started dating, but they got married, and I went to their wedding, and they were like 19 and like 21 maybe. Mm-hmm. And they were like our first friends to get married, and it wasn't a shotgun wedding.
Wow. Yeah.
It was like a real wedding.
Yeah.
She was dressed beautiful, and it was a real wedding. And we were like, oh, one of us is getting married. This is weird, you know? Mm-hmm. And so it was a beautiful wedding, church wedding. And it was honestly, it was this church they just tore down the road is where she got married.
Oh, really?
It's just right down the street from me. And when they were married, they lived on a house on my current street at the end of the street. And, very good friends with her. And so we were a big part of each other's lives at that moment. Mm-hmm. I was married to my kid's dad at the time. She was married to Titty, and they had their first daughter. And her daughter, I met her daughter, and I said, I need one of these. And that is how I got Zoe. Zoe was very planned. I was already married. Zoe was very planned, but it was Titty and Amy's daughter, Ashlyn, that made me want children.
Okay.
And so I loved this family. And I love her parents, my friend Amy's parents. So I have a good connection to the family is what I'm saying. So I was there when Ashlyn was born. She was there for Zoe's baby shower and Zane's baby shower. And I think she came to the hospital with both of them. And then when her and her husband split up, their delivery thing did not go as well as mine. Their pregnancy had a lot of hiccups. She was on bed rest for a long time. They had gotten this little house right over here, tiny little cute wood frame, 100-year-old house. And they couldn't maintain the payment and stuff on it and all the electricity and everything. And she needed help because she was on bed rest and he had to go to work. So she would be by herself all day in bed. So they basically just kind of kept the house, but shut it down and moved in with her parents, through the pregnancy so someone could take care of her. Yeah. And then right after the baby was born. And it wasn't real great for the marriage. So they end up divorcing. So they divorce, and I wouldn't put this out there if she hadn't already, by the way. And so they divorce, and then she, starts dating somebody else and gets pregnant. And he's like this rich kid. I don't know how to explain. He's a few years younger than her. So she's like at this point maybe 23 and he's like 19.
Okay.
And it was just a little thing. Mm-hmm. And he's leaving for college. And I don't know if it was his sophomore year or whatever, but he's got to go back to college, maybe junior year. And he's going to college in some real prestigious, like rich person college up north. I don't remember which one. And I think he's from like Highland Park in Dallas. I don't know. His mom's like a bigwig. Like I know she was like a CFO of a major company here in Dallas. I'm not going to mention because I'm not trying to give it away, but she was very important. Mm-hmm. Okay. So as soon as he found out Amy was pregnant, he was like, I'm out. I want nothing to do with this kid and don't tell anyone. And so Amy was like, okay. I'm keeping this kid myself. And then when she told Titty, he said, well, that's my kid now. Put me on the birth certificate. I'm not letting that kid go without a dad. And this is why Titty and I to this day are so close. Yeah. I respect him so much. And so he did. He got on the birth certificate. They just started dating again and like getting to know each other again and then got back together. And they were together about another maybe 2 years-ish and realized they were not meant to be together. But he remained this boy's father.
Yeah.
And his daughter. So he remained present in both their lives equally. So he's dad. So whenever the boy is 4 or 5 years old, his dad finishes college, gets married, new wife's like, and grandma never found out about the baby. Mm-hmm. And new wife's like, yeah, get your kid back. You need a visitation. You need he needs your last name. If you got a kid, you know, whatever. So they go to court, whatever, and he gets visitation rights, and they make him change his name and put his name on the birth certificate.
Wow.
So the boy gets his legal dad's, or his biological dad's name. But then dad checks back out.
Oh my goodness.
Like it was very short-lived. But you know, the whole time Titty stayed present. He stayed being dad. Even during all that, he never wavered. He stayed dad. And he wasn't with the mom. None of that was going on. She ends up remarrying. He ends up remarrying and then divorcing. He has another child. But, always remained this kid's dad. And this kid is my son's age. They're both 24. And I just feel like he's like a godson to me. I love this kid. And he's such a good kid. And so he's 24 now. And he decided to legally get his name changed back to his dad, his Titty's name.
Yeah.
Tidwell, not Titty. And so he paid the fees. I asked him how much, $350. He paid the fees to get his dad's name back at 24 years old. And if that's not the sweetest,
that tells you something right there.
that says a lot about Titty. It says a lot about I'm not going to name his name, but his kid. It says a lot about,
Yeah.
So I just happened upon it. And I have been very present in all this. Like I've been at all their major events, and I'm just very lucky. And she had a really good, her very best friend, her very, very, very closest best friend, Amy's, my friends, passed away of cancer about 3 years ago. And so I got to be there for right after they finished the adoption, or I don't know, really a name change, but we're going to consider it adoption. I got to meet up with them and be a part of it. Just me. I'm the only one. And I looked homeless. It was literally last minute, and I was running errands. They were like, let's take pictures. And I'm like, oh my God, I look like a troll, but I don't care. I was like, post that shit.
Be in the picture.
Because this is an important moment. And I've been there since before he was born, since he was in vitro. I was one of the first people she called to tell that she was pregnant, and she was shocked, and she did not know what the hell to do.
Yeah.
And so I just feel very blessed. I've been friends with Amy since junior high. Mm-hmm. And so I just feel very blessed that I got to be part of that the other day. So it was really a cool thing. So that's one thing that happened to me this week. So the other thing is, I'm like having to read my own note. Oh my nose. Okay, so Amy and I volunteered to do the gingerbread trail thing. And it's really cool. Have you ever done it?
I have, but it was when I was younger, so I hardly even remember.
Okay, so they pick a few houses. I don't really know how many the average is. This time it was 5. I think it's usually more. Mm-hmm. But they also let them do businesses too. So they did meat church, and just about all the businesses are older buildings too. So you're getting some history of the building. You're not just going to see a business, Yeah. And so all the houses this year are on Main Street. They don't always do that, but they put it on the Main Street. Mm-hmm. And so the house that I got to do, I have always wanted to see. It's my number one house on Main Street. And it's not like the biggest or the most fancy, but it's got a pink door and a little cottage in the back. And I wanted to see that damn shit. It's the one to the right of the library.
Yeah.
I have always wanted to see this house inside. And so we volunteered, and that's the house they put us in.
It was meant to be.
It was meant to be. And then it was Amy and I, and then Amy Wright, which is Mayor Pro Tem, which is like second in charge of the mayor, his wife. She was the one overseeing it and did a wonderful job. And the money goes to some kind of charity. I don't know exactly how it works, but it is well worth it. If you are nosy and want to see people's homes, if you go for walks and try to look in the houses with no curtains, this is the thing you want to do. And it's all historic homes, which they're known for. But I expected the homes to be kind of boringly decorated. I don't know why. To me, you're going to have some money if you own one of these homes. And to me, you're probably going to be more traditional.
Yeah.
No. This house was so full of color and amazing treasures. It looked like my mom decorated. My mom was a fabulous decorator. That's where I got my decorating. That's why you see random shit in my house, like antlers with a hat on them, like colorful, fun things, right? So the house we did was the oldest house on the tour, and we got there, and Amy and I were supposed to be in the same room, but they didn't have enough volunteers. So Amy ended up being in the dining room, and then I was in the kitchen. I got to ask them. They asked what I wanted. I was like, kitchen, because
Of course.
So I got the kitchen, and they were like, we're going to give you information. First off, we were running a little bit late because I had just come from Austin. Literally ran home, threw on a dress, picked up Amy, showed up.
Yeah.
So looking homeless. And so I'm like, okay. So they give us a card, and it's got like 2 facts on it. That's it. I'm supposed to talk about this room with hundreds of people. And I have 2 facts. What kind of china is on the wall and where this cabinet came from. And that is it. And I need more information.
I gotta know more.
Well, thankfully, I live in a 100-year-old home from Waxahachie, so I do know a little bit about 100-year-old homes from Waxahachie. And my previous home was a 100-year-old home in Waxahachie. And I grew up in 100-year-old homes, so I know little random facts about kitchens in these older homes, like where they're placed in the house and that kind of stuff, and how these homes were heated and that kind of stuff. So when people ask questions, I actually knew answers just because I knew answers, but I needed more information about this house. So I finally catch the owner of the house, the gentleman, and I'm like, can you tell me more about this kitchen so I have something to talk about? And I was like, particularly this island, because it has this amazing butcher block top island with all this ornate detail and like the biggest legs you've ever seen, like the soccer player man leg on a table. And so I'm like, and it's beautiful. It's a showstopper. The whole house is beautiful. And he was like, yeah, we got it for $100 at a garage sale in Red Oak. I was like, I can't tell that.
Come up with something better.
Tell me more. So it was fine. I came up with stuff. We did fine and everything. So they would go to Amy's room first, and then they would come into the kitchen from there. And Amy's room was really cool. They did some really cool artwork in there and stuff. And but it was funny because some of them would tell Amy they knew who she was, because we had some listeners come through.
Oh, nice.
So we had a few of the listeners from, the Kid Craddock show that knew who Amy was because of the Kid Craddock show. And Al had discussed the fact that we were doing this.
Yeah.
So, they came in for that. So some of them said something to Amy, but not all of them. Now, one of them, talked to her for 30 minutes, and her parent, and she was in her 30s, and her parents were like, I don't even know how she knows her. I can't get her out of that room. She's been in there 35 minutes. Finally, I told her who Amy was. She was like, oh. And she was really just kind of praying over Amy and telling her how she'd been praying for her. It was really cool. Another one, but I knew more people knew who she was than what she knew, because they would leave that room not knowing who I was.
Oh, yeah.
And they'd be like, oh my God, that was Al Mack's wife. That was Al Mack's wife. That was Amy Mack. That was Amy Mack. And they didn't know who I was. Not all of them listened to our podcast.
Yeah.
So it was kind of funny to me.
Yeah,
but a few of them would come through and do it, and then they would realize who I was. And they'd be like, oh my God, you're Zeta. Okay. I was like, yeah, that is Al Mack's wife.
They set this up, huh?
It's almost like we talked about it on the radio. And we had a listener of ours. We had 3 listeners of ours that said, "Oh, listen to the podcast," but 2 I did not catch their name because there were so many people in the room.
Yeah.
And they were not trying to hook me up. But one of them's name was Sherry, and she has messaged me a time or two, and she did tell me she was coming. And I said, "Please tell me who you are, and don't just walk through the room."
Yeah.
And she did, and she was so sweet.
I love that.
And so, hello, Sherry. Thank you. And I hope I did okay with my description. I don't know. I got better as the day went on.
Yeah, of course.
And
I hope so.
Yeah. So that was really cool. And I would just really suggest, they do it twice a year. They do it in, I guess, June or like the beginning of summer. And then they do it in the holidays. And in the holidays, they give them a budget to decorate the house in a Christmas style. Mm-hmm. I highly suggest this. These homes are, they're not like homes you're going to see that were just built. Like these are all like 100-year-old gingerbread homes, or like, beautiful, beautiful homes. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, you can just enjoy this city because it's a really cool little town.
Yeah,
like,
I really love our
cool
downtown.
Stuff. Yeah.
So nice.
Well, afterwards, Amy and I was like, I hadn't eaten yet because I'd been, in driving from Austin, and I'm starving. We're done at 2:00, and I have not eaten since I woke up. Because I had to get out of town and get there and get all this, And so I was like, you want to go eat? Let's go eat. Like, can we go eat, please? So we went to the pub, and they were like, we'll get you in, but no one else. They were packed. They got us in because it was us, but nobody else.
Got them connections.
We locals. And so that was kind of what we did. I'm like, do you have anything else? No, we caught up now. We did good. That's 45 minutes of just catching up.
I told you.
And I didn't even tell y'all the juicy stuff I'm not allowed to tell y'all.
I know. That would have been another 30 minutes.
You don't even want to hear this shit. All I can say is pray for me.
Actually, you do, but...
You do, but...
Because I sure did.
If I end up on Busted page, I don't even know. Thank God it's out of commission.
That's so funny that it is. Like, what happened to it?
They changed the way, Ellis County changed the way that they post their mugshots and stuff, and I guess they can't upload them.
Oh.
But it's still on Corsicana. They still have a Busted Corsicana.
Oh, yeah, but just not Ellis County.
Or whatever, Navarro County. That's Navarro County. Yeah, so I know. And the other day I needed to know if someone got arrested, and I was able to look it up I was able to look it up on the Ellis County page, but there was no there was no mugshot. It's just not near as exciting without the mugshot.
No, it's not.
No, but I've known 2 people arrested since then, and both were like, thank God.
I'm so happy.
And they were not the type of people to get arrested.
Yeah. So if you're going to get arrested,
And it was
do it
over
now.
stupid shit. So I was like, no kidding, thank God, because they weren't drinking, they weren't doing anything. It was just a stupid thing.
Yeah.
And thank God. But I also know apparently a lot of people getting arrested.
That's so funny.
I know, bless my heart. Anyways, y'all are caught up, and we'll try to throw in an extra one next week. Maybe we can get an extra podcast out next week. Maybe not. You're working full time now.
I'm gonna try to do.
She's a working girl.
Man, I tell you, when it just goes, the day goes by so fast now, and I still have after things I do afterwards. I was just really happy that this week I'm not singing in church because I would have had to go to practice and everything. So I was
Okay, we're not doing a second episode this week.
We're trying our best, guys. We love y'all, and we appreciate
For this content,
support.
it requires us to have time driving all over the state of Texas chasing our daughter's mugs that say I hate people. That's what I just unpacked.
It's the important stuff, the little things that mean the most.
It
right?
isn't it? Isn't it? Yes, it absolutely is. I'm like, oh, God, bless my heart. This girl, man. But we're getting it done, and we're going to have more good stories. It's summertime, y'all, so this is when we start. We need to get in the damn cabin. The problem is I've been busy every weekend.
I want to so bad.
I reached out to Erica today. I was like, hey, what's a good weekend for you so I can start shooting for a weekend? Well, I'll be out of the state until the 23rd. I was like, so July.
So not this month.
Not
All
this
right.
month. So we'll figure
Duly
something
noted.
out. Maybe we'll do separate ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
That's fine.
Well, that's all for today. Thank you for joining us. Maybe come back next week and bring a friend.
Yeah. And remember, there's always 3 sides to every story.
2 sides and the truth.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.